there's no real dirt on Ventura, and they know that he's not going to sell out to him. I mean, he had one of the top-paying jobs at MSNBC, and he can tell that story, and he wouldn't play ball, so they basically got rid of him. And so they don't like people like that out there. That's why they do these dirty tricks against Ron Paul and so many others. And I've seen it over and over again. So whether Kyle made it up or whether he was drunk and didn't know what was going on, I'm sad for him. But boy, you talk about a Greek tragedy, Governor Ventura. It's wild for me. I mean, you know, you sue him, he dies. A crazy guy reportedly shoots him at a shooting range. And then you go to court and you win. And then the Fox News, Fox and Friends I saw was just bizarre, where they wouldn't even say you'd won, basically, when I tuned in. It was all just how horrible you were and, you know, basically like it was true. And, I mean, I know you're not litigious and don't like suing people, but at the same time, Fox News, one time O'Reilly, and we played the clip, goes, there's people online sexually stalking women. And there's all sorts of other problems and pedophilia and you name it and hate speech. And they cut to a clip of me yelling and screaming as if I'm a sexual predator when there's never been an accusation of that, never been an issue with that. And then MSNBC, my lawyer said, no, you can win a lawsuit. It'll cost you $500,000 to $1 million. They'll keep appealing it and you might get $2 or $3 million. Do you want to spend that much time to get, you know? And I said, no, they're so discredited, saying I'm deeply racist and influenced the Boston Bombers with no proof that I'm not going to do it. But my lawyer, the top lawyer in Austin, hands down, #3 in Texas Monthly, he said, you can win this lawsuit, but do you want to do it? I would imagine your lawyer, one of the top guys in the country, well-known, I would imagine he gave you a similar speech. Give us some of the inside baseball on the trial and stuff that wasn't in the news, Governor.
Well, he didn't give me a speech like that. We went from day one David's been my attorney now for 25, 30 years. I can't even remember how long. And I'm not a Johnny-come-lately with David Olson. This past year, he was named the top attorney in the state of Minnesota, which I think he earned and deserved. But I've been with him, and he's been that way for me, you know, all through my career. And we always, you know, when I contacted him, you know, he knew this story was not true because I told him it wasn't. And as we gathered evidence and did depositions, all of their witnesses became ours because, you know, they couldn't state they saw me get hit. Nobody saw the punch. And yet Kyle stated in deposition there were 4 people standing around me within 3 feet when he hit me.
Wow.
Now, where are these 4 people? They couldn't produce them. So, in my opinion, you know, the jury said it was difficult, but to me the evidence was so overwhelming. I had no marks on me. We had photographs. We had everything. So David and I, my attorney, we went into this fully knowing that we had truth on our side, and he knows me well enough after 25 years. I'm not going to back down, that we're going to go to court if it requires that. And when they would not offer any type of, you know, retraction. And like I said, initially, I had told them when I got back into the country, I said, if Chris Kyle will simply go on television with me, admit he fabricated the story, apologize, I would forgive him. We could shake hands and go our separate way. They wouldn't do it. Why? Because the millions were coming in. The cash was paying off. And they weren't about to get away from that money. And, you know, they weren't going to do anything that inhibited the do you know the book? So, the book company said it's the biggest. The guy has been there 15 years on the stand, and he said it's the biggest selling book since he's been there.
Incredible. And now they've got Clint Eastwood making a movie out of it.
Yeah. And they're trying, and here's the good one. The day before it went on sale, it had 5,000 pre-orders. After he did Opie and Anthony and O'Reilly that night, 100,000 in one day. And they're trying to say that I didn't have something to do with it?
No, they used you as the detonator. You're absolutely right.
To sell the book.
To then put it on every news channel out there. Jesse Ventura's glad seals are dead and got knocked out. I mean, designed to defame you and designed to enrich themselves while they crap all over you and anyone else associated with you. And then you're the bad guy for going and proving it was a fraud.
Yeah, that's precisely it, Alex. That's exactly it. I'm now the bad guy for having the truth on my side and going the proper way in a court of law and winning a trial, and now they even question the jury. Oh, how could the jury do this? Well, the jury saw the evidence, and they saw it clearly, you know, because all the people, they're saying it's astounding I won.
Well, you also made the point when I talked to you over Skype when you first learned of this a few years ago when this first happened, time flies, you said, Alex, plus it would be suicidal to walk into a Navy SEAL bar and say, I'm glad Navy SEALs are being killed.
Oh, that would be the equivalent of walking into the Hell's Angel clubhouse and saying they suck.
Oh, man.
You know, that would be the equivalent. You know, and not only that, but I was there with my friends who testified in the case. In fact, the DeWitts, Bill and Charlene, his wife, that was the first night she ever met me. And both of them testified that I left before they did. And nothing had happened.
Yeah, you're not a big partier. I mean,
well, you know, I am, but it was a 3-day week. We still had the next day, we had a graduation to go to, and then the following day I had a big picnic to do. It was a 3-day event for us because for me it was the graduate. And here's the other thing. If I felt that way about my unit, the Navy SEALs, which I never would, why would I be there attending the graduation of 258? My bicentennial class. I was in class 58. Class 258 was graduating the next morning or the next day, and then we were having a picnic, and that's what the tradition is. When your centennial class, I was there for 150.
Well, the truth is you're not a warmonger. The truth is you're not a warmonger, and a bunch of these guys got around and probably, if I had to speculate, just cooked up, you know, defaming you.
No, one person did. It wasn't a bunch of them.
Yeah.
One person did it.
No, I know, but you said some of his buddies went along with it, though.
Well, put it this way, Alex. If you'll die for someone, won't you lie for him?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they'll all die for him. There's no doubt in my mind about that. You know? And like I told you, remember the SEALs did what they're trained to do, admit nothing, deny everything, and make counter-accusations.
Sure, but I mean, I come off as a bombastic guy on air, but I'm pretty calm in person. You're calm on air, but also very calm in person, and you're into being in control of the situation, being calm, being cerebral. I mean, it's just as soon as I heard the story, I knew it was completely asinine. And then I called you, and of course it was pure bull. And then all the people laughing at you saying you were a liar, I guess they're still just laughing because we live in this world of just a bunch of dishonorable people, especially in the media.
Well, look, you know how I feel about it? Should we have some fun with it? Do you remember when Chevy Chase did the movie where they went to Vegas Vacation?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you remember the very last scene where they're sitting there with the old guy, and Chevy's trying to win his money back, and the old guy gets the right ticket?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, I won. And the bottom line is Fox News can't hack it. Jesse Ventura beat the odds and won, despite everything they could do to destroy me. See, mainstream thought, Alex, that they were throwing the last shovel of dirt on the legacy of Jesse Ventura, that I couldn't possibly win this and it was political suicide for me. Well, I always believe in the truth, always will, and to me the truth prevailed, and, you know, they're attacking now, but the worm will turn, because more as the truth gets out, it already is, because there's more and more stories coming out. Chris Kyle stated all the money's going to charity. Well, look at the trial records. None of it hardly has gone to charity. Less than 2% of the millions have gone to charity, and you know what the excuse is? Well, you can't give more than $13,000 without getting taxed. Well, what's the matter with creating a nonprofit, a 5-0, whatever they call it? That's not hard to do.
And of course, they're not going to make money off the movie either. I mean, I feel sad for his wife because, well, I mean,
she's a millionaire, Alex.
Yeah, but I don't mean.
Do you know how much that the writers have made? $6 million.
$6 million.
$6 million off the book.
No, sure.
Plus, she's got royalties coming for. She travels around the country and does speaking engagements. Gets paid well for that.
Sure. When I say I feel sorry for her, I'm sorry her husband put her in this position.
Okay. Well, maybe you ought to check on something else too. There's a thing right there in Texas in your bankruptcy courts that she's heavily involved in.
Interesting.
And it very much parallels my case. You ought to check it out. It's right in the Texas bankruptcy courts right now. She's suing Kraft.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of public info on it. We couldn't submit it. We wanted to submit it into the trial. But here, let me read this from David Olson. Attached is a public document from Taya Kyle's Texas lawsuit against her late husband's business partners. The attached is the answer to the business partners filed to her complaint, and it alleges that Chris Kyle did not include Taya Kyle as a member of his company, Kraft International, because they were about to get divorced. So she may not be the loving wife she pretends to be. The media may be interested in that as well as the lawsuit, but it's right now in Texas bankruptcy court. Chris Kyle made that company purposely so that she couldn't get anything from it in case they divorced.
Wow, that's what your lawyer's saying? That's amazing.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's not saying it at all. This is in a Texas lawsuit that's right there with public record.
Oh, wow. So she's saying that in her suit.
Yes.
Wow.
No, this isn't my lawyer at all. We tried to use this in our case, but the judge wouldn't allow it.
Wow.
But it's factual. It's happening right in Texas right now. It's in Texas bankruptcy court. She has sued Chris's business, Kraft.
I just found the headline. Thanks for telling us about it. It's in the Dallas Morning News. We'll put that headline back up on screen, and I'll read it to the listeners out there. Slain American sniper Chris Kyle's former business partner says his widow's lawsuit is completely groundless. Well, why don't they just blame it on you? Why don't they just say that's your fault too?
Well, if they could, they would. Don't give them any ideas, Alex. I just got done with a court case.
No, I hear you. I'm joking. How's Terry doing?
She is doing as well as can be expected. The stress was tough on her. She had to testify one day, and she did very well, which I knew she would, but it
Sure.
later on it took its toll on her.
Now, I want to shift gears into some other areas. I want to talk about, in the next segment, your TV show that I like watching. It's really good.
You mean my internet show?
Absolutely, but
Okay.
it's TV's TV, my friend.
Okay.
Twitter.com/GovJ Ventura. And there's also pound I Stand with Jesse for Twitter and other things. I've seen massive organized attacks against you. You've just started getting going on Twitter. Folks need to follow you there at GovJ Ventura. I Stand with Jesse, hashtag I Stand with Jesse. And all these people that just want some cheap propaganda to go after you, they need to stand up for the First Amendment and stand up for people to tell the truth. Speaking of wars, what do you make of IS and ISIS being turned loose by the West, Benghazi? I mean, what do you make of the NSA?
I can only say this, Alex. I must be a prophet when I was against the Iraq War back in 2003. Because it's a holy hell mess over there, isn't it?
Boy, it is.
And it sure wasn't quite that bad back then, was it?
No.
And here's the thing that disturbs me even more so. Did you read the other day how they just caught that we had operatives from Central America sneaking into Cuba?
Yes.
Disrupting. Now, isn't that terrorism?
Well, yeah, and they were using...
Cuba's never done one thing to us in 50 years. The only thing is that they have a government that apparently our government obviously doesn't like. And he doesn't allow corporations in there. So we're allowed to put operatives into Cuba to try to overthrow their government?
Sure, they were using AIDS Foundation fronts.
Yes.
So it's really bad to use charities because that discredits all charities.
Exactly. So here we are using the charities as a front to go in and try to overthrow the Castro government, who has done nothing to us. Alex, can you think of anything Cuba's done to us in your lifetime?
No, I don't agree with their government, but it's true that our own government is more authoritarian on many fronts.
I mean, they've never, throw their government aside, the country of Cuba, have they done anything to the United States of America in your lifetime?
No, other than dumping their prisoners out to come in on the Cuban boatloads.
Well, we didn't have to take them, did we?
No, I hear you on that point. Listen, I'd love to be able to travel to Cuba and go scuba diving there. I hear it's really nice.
Well, and you might enjoy a cigar there, too.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's that really good cigar one time that we smoked? What's that called?
Well, that's an Ashton Cabinet VSG. That's Dominican.
Yeah, that was really good.
Oh, yeah, it's the best one. See, Cuba hasn't practiced crop rotation, so their tobacco isn't as good. You can get as good or better cigars now from Dominican.
Because, I know. Those are delicious.
Cuba's made some agricultural mistakes with their tobacco. They didn't rotate crops. But, you know, what's that done is done. But
hey,
anyway,
tell me about this diet briefly.
The diet?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to patent this, Alex. You noticed how I've lost weight and I look in great shape?
Yeah, I told you that earlier.
Okay, I'm doing everything. I'm still working out the same way, and I still eat everything I normally eat. Haven't changed a thing. But here's the secret to the diet, Alex Jones. We ought to patent this baby because it's novel. For the last month, I only drink water. I eat normal, but I only drink water. Like, for example, when I play a round of golf, normally I'll drink 3 of those Minute Maid lemonades.
Oh, yeah.
I don't drink that. And, well, each one of them is 150 calories. So I'll take in 450 useless calories just drinking lemonade, playing golf. Now I drink only water. So I've eliminated 450. I'll bet you by just drinking water every day with all my meals, it's the only liquid I consume, I'll bet you it eliminates at least 1,500 or more calories a day.
And I know what we call it when we come back with Jesse Ventura. Straight ahead, I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com. We're going to send a tweet out saying Jesse Ventura won. He told the truth. Pound or hashtag I stand with Jesse. All right, final segment with Jesse Ventura. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Nightly News is back tonight, 7. And, of course, Governor, you were saying the name of the diet during the break, the water diet. Finish up with that, and then I've got one other point for you.
Okay.
Finish up with your water diet point, how much weight you're losing.
Well, like I said, I eat normal. I eat all the same foods. I just stopped drinking anything but water.
Wow.
Like when I would play golf, I'd drink like 3 bottles of lemonade. Well, that's 450 calories. I eliminated that by strictly drinking water. I'll bet you I save 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day. I'm telling people, you want to lose weight, drink only water and eat normal.
Well, and it turns out exactly the aspartame and other additives in Diet Cokes and other diet soft drinks makes you fatter and more hungry. Incredible. Hey, I promised listeners a few weeks ago I'd raise this point.
Yep.
Because the media spun it and said Ventura supports totally open borders. Well, I know you. And I said, no, that's not it. Well, I asked you during the break, and you clarified it. What is your take on the open borders and what's happening right now?
Well, I love open borders because to me we're all people of the planet Earth, and why should I be required to have paperwork to go around the planet I belong on? Borders are nothing but man-made obstacles. Now, here's the deal. If we would end the ridiculous war on drugs, you would not have this problem at the border. This is the direct result of the United States war on drugs. If we ended it, we would have enough money to take care of the border problem. And if you're going to blame the people coming up here and getting on welfare, well, then blame the politicians who create a system that allow them to get on welfare. But the point being is they're children for the most part. And they're the results of they're more like refugees. They're the results of the war on drugs down there, which if the United States would legalize, it would go away, and probably your border problem would disappear with it. And look at all the money we'd have, Alex, if we weren't fighting the war on drugs.
Well, look, I mean, I know your view, and that's a hardcore libertarian view, and I get it if it wasn't a drug war, if... I can't go to Guatemala and have a baby with my wife and have it paid for. So I'm saying that is a discriminatory against American citizens, making them pay for it. So I agree with you. Get rid of the welfare, and then we'd get the skilled people up here, not the folks looking for something free. I mean, but I get you're humanizing the people. And I understand that view, Jesse. It's just that the larger issue is the Democrats want a bunch of people they can put on welfare.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, Alex. I'm not going to go that far. To me, the bigger issue is stop this idiotic war on drugs. End it. It's a complete failure. It causes corruption. Like my mother told me, she lived through the prohibition of alcohol. Before she passed on, my mom told me the war on drugs is identical. All it does is make criminals rich and powerful. Let's end it. Let's take our heads out of the sand and deal with drug addiction the way it should be, medically, not criminally.
I totally agree with you, Governor Jesse Ventura. In the minute and a half we've got left, tell us more about some of the episodes on the TV show, aura.tv/off the grid.
Well, Jesse will be going off the grid sooner than you think. I was forced to come on the grid. The funny part is, here in my home in Minnesota, I lost my electricity twice already this summer because of storms, and when I'm off the grid, I never lose it. Imagine that, Alex.
That's right. You do a lot of the show from Mexico off the grid.
Yeah. But I'm forced to do it up here on the grid temporarily because of the trial and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting back down to Mexico and doing it like it's supposed to be done off the grid, the way we do it down there, although I'm still enjoying it here. But we're still dealing with the controversial topics, and I'll tell people if you want to hear more about the court case, go to Off the Grid, because that's where I speak openly about it. There's only a couple places here and on my own show that I'm talking about it. You're not going to hear the truth on mainstream media. I'm sure of that now after the hatchet job they've done to me.
Absolutely. And again, you said you'll come back in September. Governor, say hi to your wife, and everybody will get Tyrell on soon. I know he's got big stuff coming up. And just have a great weekend coming up in a few days.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Best to you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support. Bye-bye.
You bet. Well, I support the truth.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show